Join the revolution starting inside. An instrumental part of Agora worldwide. Agora worldwide. Agora worldwide. Counter economics. Agorist drip. Black market click. Move a quick flip. Can't regulate this. Agorist drip. Black market click. Move a quick flip. Can't regulate this. Agorist.
Agorist.
Agorist. Nexus. Agorist.
Agorist.
This is the Agorist Nexus podcast. I've got my great co-host, Dag. How you doing, Dag?
I'm doing great, Brandon. How you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. First time in a long time I actually have faith in humanity, so...
Oh,
pretty good.
Well, what happened?
Oh, just the trucker convoy and stuff.
Oh.
We're going to be going...
Oh, our topics.
which will be... Yeah, exactly. We'll be going over some of that today, but what I don't want to cover is like... And we'll kind of just do like a breeze through, like a skim through it, just to if anybody's not updated on it, fine. But I don't really want to stick too much to that because everybody and their mother is covering the trucker convoy. But we've got a lot of great stuff that we'll be going over that's related to that not too many people have gone over yet. So yeah, there's that, and then also we'll be getting into like cool crypto stuff for the Agora that kind of ties into all this at the end. So definitely stick around for that. But I know Dag wanted to go over an ad for Texas Joe. I want to go over it too. So yeah, take it away, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. So Texas Joe is doing another one of his freedom and homesteading like skill set workshops that he's done a couple of. It's going to be in Texas. It's going to be April 29th. So I just want to let everybody know about it because it's going to be like really super cool, and I'm hoping to make it out to one of these. Really hoping to instruct at one day, but I really want to make it out to one of these. But at any rate, I just want to let you guys know some of the stuff that's going to be going on. It's about an hour north of Houston. It's at his homestead. It's $750 a seat. There's a special discount for couples and families. Prices include all food, drinks, alcohol, parking, and camping on site. The dates are April 29th through May 1st. So it's a whole weekend. Dogs and kids welcome. Tiny humans may be subject to a small charge to cover food. So far, there is making and distilling alcohol, making and distilling vinegar, soil science and soil amendments, food preservation, ham radio, build an antenna, fix hunt, and the Texas Freedom Farm 60-foot antenna raising ceremony, basic blacksmithing techniques, protection dog lifestyle, and live bite work sessions, including Texas Joe himself getting attacked by one of the dogs. Bee Mentor will be there with extra equipment doing hive tours. There will be more stuff added. Baker Creek Seeds has sent a giant box of seeds, custom patches, and custom knives will be available. So that is already a ton of stuff. So if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, go for it. I personally love that these events are happening, and I think they're getting to be more popular, and I want to be a part of them because I think building community is huge. Through the miracle of technology and the internet, we don't have to live next door to each other to be a community. So we have like these communities that are nationwide popping up based around things like podcasts. So that's just really awesome. But at any rate, these are real skills. This is just probably things like this. I just feel like it'll be the most fun you're going to have all year if you're into that sort of thing. So, definitely check it out. Of course, Joe's show is the Insurgency Knitting Circle. So give him a listen if you don't already. And that's what I got.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. Definitely check out what Texas Joe's doing with his stuff in Houston. Yeah. Sounds great, man.
Yeah.
I wish I could be there. Yeah, that'd be great. I always love to have him on. And I would love to go to that, but I'm in Mexico. So yeah, I try not to go back to the USSA.
You might be closer than I am. I don't know my geography very well down there. You could also be twice as far away. I don't know. So anyhow, so okay. So yeah, so like Brandon said, if you guys will just grant me just a couple minutes to do some basics on the trucker thing. It's funny because like, you said like everybody and their mother's talking about it. Like, I feel like among our circles that's the case, but as far as like mainstream circles, it's like the most articles I'm finding are like from Yahoo News and stuff. Like to find something from like CNN talking about this, you have to actually like search specifically for CNN. They're not doing a lot,
Right.
nothing front page. So this whole thing has been really interesting, really funny, really exciting. I don't know, man. I'm definitely digging it, and I don't know. I don't know if the people, the people in charge really know what to do with the situation. So it's getting good. So at any rate, the truckers were there in Ottawa. They were blocking shit. They're honking their horns. Then the government started fucking with them by coming in and taking their fuel, their propane, all their supplies. They're making it illegal for anybody to bring them supplies. So, they're literally stealing.
I saw him confiscating wood and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things they need to survive. And then, what's kind of funny too is if like they want them to leave, why are they taking their gas? But whatever.
Government doesn't make sense,
right? So Trudeau and the police chiefs and everything have come out and said some really awful and despicable things about these people. They just call them Trump supporters. I think this is a quote from Trudeau here. This is a story of a country that got through this pandemic by being united, and a few people shouting and waving swastikas does not define who Canadians are. So I haven't seen any photos of the swastikas and Confederate flags that they keep talking about. And of course, that's like, they like to throw those in everywhere now. So just to make it seem like a white supremacist thing. But they are calling them aggressive, hate-filled, violent, and the only crimes that I have found that they can cite are driving through no truck routes, employing excessive use of fireworks, and red light violations. So that's the dangerous, violent protests that, and this is quoting here from one of the police officials. People are living in fear and they are terrified. He called the honking tantamount to psychological warfare. So they're just framing this stuff up as pretty crazy. Of course, I'm sure we all heard about the GoFundMe.
Terrorists.
Yeah. What's that?
They're terrorists.
Yeah.
This is terrorism.
Yeah,
man. Kind of bouncy castles at the,
yeah. But dude, yeah, they have like kitchens. I mean, they're taking care of themselves. People, they raised, how much was it? Like 10 million on GoFundMe. GoFundMe decided to steal the money and donate it to some other causes. People pitched enough of a stink where they're refunding the money. People then donated to, oh gosh, what's that other one called?
Go Link Go or something. We have it in one of our articles here.
We'll get
I can find that.
But so people started donating to this other one, and there were some issues with that as well, which we'll get into here in a second. I guess that about wraps up what's been going on. I think it was like just before February when this thing started, so it's been a little over 2 weeks. And they're chilling, and Canada's the government's starting to get really they're growing impatient, I guess you could say, with it. So yeah, our first one here, this Fox News article. So everything that I just went over, it was, sort of lead up to this, and now I think that there's a couple things that are happening, or at least there's the threat of happening, that are getting to be, extra dangerous territory. It's not just the cops saying, hey, you got to leave. It's not just the cops confiscating some of your property. They do that every day. So these next couple instances are kind of like, I know they don't have a First Amendment in Canada, and obviously we don't give a shit about the Constitution, but like freedom of speech is still like, important. So this first one, there's this lady in Ottawa, and her name's Tammy Giuliani, which is hilarious because when I first heard about this, I thought they were talking about, Giuliani from New York, and the article just did not make sense, like, at all. But basically, she owns a gelato shop, and she was forced to shut down her business after threats were made to her. People were calling, threatening to throw a brick through her window because she had the audacity to donate to one of these freedom trucker causes. She had donated to the GoFundMe, and then was very upset that, they weren't going to give the money to them. So when she got the money back, she donated even more money to the. Oh, we still haven't come up with the name of this thing, have we? This other this other crowdfunding thing. Oh, it's driving me nuts. Why can't I think of
it says right here, Give Send Go.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
Give Send Go.
And
this article is threats force Ottawa cafe owner to close business after name appears in hacked list of Freedom Convoy donors by Fox News.
Yeah, the what was it called again? this crowdfunding site got hacked, and they published the name
Give Send Go
of everybody who donated. So it was showing that she donated $250, and so people were upset and threatening her for making that donation. It's it's really sad, and one thing that does
they're threatening her with phone calls. I don't know how they got her phone number, probably through Give Send Go, through that hacked list. But they're threatening her with phone calls. They're threatening her with vandalism, even violence.
Yeah,
so
they were calling her employees. So
it's pretty serious.
Yeah. Now it's unfortunate because she after this happened, I was really hoping she'd be like, no, fuck you. I donated to him because of this kind of nonsense right here. But there's a real big vein in all this and the tone of all these articles. And it's that they're breaking the law. The government made a decree that this is not an okay protest and they're breaking the law. So it's just not. So what this lady's saying is she's like, well, I mean, I don't agree with the protest now. I wish I would have never donated to them. I think they've gone too far. I don't like what they're doing or what have you. But they note in the article, they're like, well, she made the donation even after the government declared that this was a violent and illegal protest, so they're damning her for making the donation after the government said that it wasn't an okay protest to donate to. It's just, they just keep making the point again. Oh, we believe in, democracy and we believe in your right to, make your voice heard and whatnot, but not really. So
yeah, it's kind of, I'm kind of disappointed that she wasn't well, screw the law. It doesn't, just because they make a decree doesn't mean it's right for humanity. And yeah, you made a very good point there. It kind of ties into this next article if you're ready, Dag.
The
CTV News one. Ontario government staffer out of a job after $100 donation to Ottawa blockade. So basically, this guy gets fired because he donated $100, and we don't really want to go through most of the article, but his $100 donation was listed on the Give Send Go leaked documents, and yeah. I think the main reason why we wanted to add this article into this too is because this article actually goes into them talking about which just happened recently. I think it was Valentine's Day, 13th or 14th, where Trudeau mentions that anybody donating or helping the truckers will get their bank account frozen, and funds could possibly be confiscated there.
Mm-hmm.
So where does it say that in here? It says I had it saved. Okay,
you got it.
It's right here.
Okay.
Yeah, it says even small donors to the blockade, should they continue donating, run the risk of frozen bank accounts due to federal government's invocation of the Emergencies Act, said Toronto lawyer.
I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that.
Nanish? Nain Hesh. Yeah. Kotak. I don't know.
NK.
Sorry if I butchered that. Under this enactment, I would suggest the government could freeze bank accounts if they chose to do so. He said that's concerning. The targets should be the bigger players. So, yeah, I think all of it's concerning.
The government
the government being
Yeah, so he's referring to, when he says like the bigger players, he's referring to like GoFundMe and Gifts and Go and whatnot. You know, hey, freeze their shit. Don't let them send them. But yeah, you shouldn't be going after individual people. That's crazy.
And he might be referring correct me if I'm wrong, but he might be referring to the like the bigger players and the truckers themselves too. I'm not sure what he exactly means, but I don't see.
You know what? You could be right. Yeah, possibly the truckers too. That makes sense. You know,
people actually like doing the protesting. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, bigger players could mean the truckers. It probably means the truckers, or like even the big donation platforms like what's that one? Gifts and Go or whatever. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's so yeah, I thought this article was interesting, and then at the end of it, it has like adopt a trucker fundraiser by number of donors, and it's got like a cool pie chart of some of the donors at the bottom. Like there's U.S. I don't know what CA is, but
Canadian, I think.
Oh, CA is Canadian. Canadian donors, U.S. donors. DE, I don't know what that is. GB, probably Great Britain. DE is probably like Denmark or something. So, yeah, that's pretty cool that there's so many American. There's almost as many American donors as there are Canadian, and
yeah, they're trying to. That's one thing. Like there's a lot of articles about like that too. Like, oh, it's really an American thing, and they're blaming, like they're basically framing as this is Trumpism, you know, is taking over these Canadian truckers, and you know, they're all Trump supporters or what have you, which is obviously ridiculous, you know, but that is the way things go these days. Let's just frame everything as a white supremacist thing, you know, and vilify it, and then we get to call them terrorists and et cetera, et cetera. So I even saw in the news some of them talking about like, oh, it's supply line issues. This is why you can't get your stuff in the stores, because of these truckers, you know, which, hey, I mean, there could certainly be some truth to that, but that's why these truckers have so much power, because the world does not function without them. You know, the military can't step in and do this. The government can't step in and do this. You know, they can't solve these problems, you know, just like the issue with them. They're saying, oh, we want to tow the trucks out of there. Well, it's like, how are you going to do that? You have to compel the private tow truck companies to do it, or they have to get their military tow trucks, which are not even in the same area. It'd take them like weeks to get the military tow trucks there to do anything. That's why markets are better, right? That's why the private sector is, you know, better. We're available. We do shit. You know, we get shit done. So anyhow, sorry, I went off on a tangent. Was there anything else on this article, or did we?
No, I don't think so. I think the important thing here is like, okay, so government's gonna freeze your shit, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess we should go into the next before we get into the solutions and shit. And the next article is the Reuters one. TD Bank freezes accounts that received money for Canada protests, and this actually has proof that they have frozen bank accounts of some of the protesters.
Yeah, this is the only
pretty interesting here
factual one I could find that they have done so far. Otherwise, a lot of threats. But yeah, there's these here. Did you want to take us through this one, or you want me to do it?
No, that doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically they've confiscated like 1.1 million, you know, US, and this is actually kind of like strange because like there was like the 10 million from the GoFundMe, and they're kind of saying this was GoFundMe money, but they don't really say why this was separate and in these other accounts. But yeah, they froze it. So they're looking for anything from those. They've also ordered that anything like crypto as well. You can't. So all the crypto exchanges, the legal centralized crypto exchanges, they're not going to do anything that might be related to this trucker incident. They're ramping up anti-money laundering like laws and all that to try and keep an eye on everything to make sure nothing's getting to these guys. But yeah, they have actually they have actually stopped funds.
Yeah, and it just shows you that that any like organization that's centralized, governments can really take down or
just order,
enforce
just say, hey, don't do
order
this,
them to,
and they just
exactly
comply.
I think that's a big reason why decentralization is so important. And if we can, I think that they even set up, I don't know if we've got an article offhand, but I think they even set up like a Bitcoin address for all this. And
I don't have an article on hand, but I am familiar with it.
Yeah, people are like donating Bitcoin and stuff, and I think the problem with that is that it is a completely traceable ledger. So anything you donate there can be seen, and I'm sure many agencies are already focusing on, okay, who's let's see if we can track these transactions here, and I'm pretty sure they're going through all of them. And so, I mean, if you've bought Bitcoin from a centralized exchange that's compliant with U.S. government or any government for that matter, then you donated crypto from that, well, they can just say, okay, there's crypto that came from here, that went from here to here, and originally it was from this address, so we'll track this person, and and they can just go to the exchange and say, okay, who owns this address, KYC and all the above, and figure out where it came from. So it's, unless you get crypto like pseudonymously, Bitcoin or like Bitcoin Cash from places that don't have your name attached to them, there could be very serious there could be serious, very serious problems that you could get from having your name attached to crypto to donate to things that government doesn't like. And I think privacy coins are really really going to be the game changer on almost everything. And there's some really great privacy coins out there. I like Dero myself, and I think it's like the Ethereum of privacy coins. It's going to have smart contracts and all that too. And let me just read the mission of Dero. Like, I really like, the more I look at this project, and again, I'm not an expert on the project. I still need to do my research, but and also, if you're going to get into Dero, be very careful about which wallet you get, because there's a lot of scam wallets out there. So be very careful about which wallet you get. Make sure it's the right wallet. Remember, none of this is financial advice, right? Like, that's something that I have to say, unfortunately. But that probably makes me more credible, because financial advisors are regulated by the government. So, but anyhow, I'm not telling you when to get into this project, when not to get in. I'm not even telling you to get into it. It's just a project that I like. And let me read their mission here. Dero is a general-purpose, private, and scalable decentralized application platform that allows developers to deploy powerful and unstoppable applications, while users retain total control over their assets with complete privacy. It is our goal to create a sound monetary framework that will globally safeguard the privacy of all users and empower free markets to thrive, while maintaining complete auditability. And so there's a couple of reasons why I love this project more than like Monero or Pirate Chain or some of the other privacy coins. And in my eyes, this solves a couple of the things that I had issues with on Monero and Pirate. And so, like, my thoughts on Monero is, like, it's great, right? You can't see the amount sent, and then there's ring signature. So there's 11 transactions, and if you imagine it like a shell game, right? You have 11 shells, and any one of those 11 could have gone to any one of these 11, and you don't know what the amount is, which is great. It's extremely hard to be able to track and trace transaction. Now, I think that maybe like a what do you call those specialized computers? I can't think right now, but what do you call those specialized computers? Yeah, quantum. I think quantum computing might be able to figure it out if you do enough transactions, where it's like, okay, this one address seems to be always in there or whatever. But yeah, I think that they might be able to well, actually, no, it doesn't work like that. Sorry. It's I can't remember all the details of Monero, but I wrote an article on it at Agorist Nexus a while back. That was like over 2 years ago, and I haven't really looked at Monero too much since they came out with Random X, which is really cool too. But so I guess my
getting popular.
With Monero is that, yeah, it's a great coin, but there's an issue that I see with it, and that is that you can't audit it, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't know if somebody's been able to attack the network and create Monero out of thin air, and completely saturated the market with all these fake Moneros. Like, if that were to happen, you would never know. You wouldn't be able to know that happened. So you could essentially just be like a bag holder for whoever, if it were to happen, or if it is happening, or whatever, you could just be a bag holder for whoever, successfully attack the network. And I think they were scared of a 51% attack recently. So it is I saw an article yesterday about it, that there's like a certain mining pool that miners shouldn't mine from, and that you should change mining pools and stuff because they were concerned about 51% attack. So it is very plausible that it's could be happening, or has happened, or could happen. So that's my kind of gripe with Monero. I mean, I love the privacy aspect, but then my issues with Pirate Chain, I guess I have less issues with that because I still have issues though with Pirate Chain, and that is that Pirate Chain, they went with like a trusted setup model. So basically they're just saying, okay, initially this many Pirate Chain was created, right? And so the thing is that nobody's done an audit on that. So you don't actually know like how many Pirate Chain are actually out there. So there could be a lot more Pirate Chain. There could be something about Pirate Chain that we don't know. It's never been audited. And I guess a lot of people are trying to donate money to get a company to audit that chain. So, and until it's fully audited, until we fully know more about what's going on with Pirate Chain, I'm not really going to be much of a supporter of that coin. And I mean, you can't blame me, right? Like, we don't really know. The chain's never been audited, so we don't really know. But with Dero is completely, it's not only completely private, but you can audit it. And so that solves both problems with Monero and Pirate Chain in my eyes. So it's just a better coin. And then you've got smart contracts on top of that. So it you really can't lose with Dero. I mean, it's going to be, I think it's going to be huge, but again, this is all just speculation. I'm really pumped for the project. I'm really excited for it. And
not a paid sponsorship.
Yeah, I'm not sponsored by them at all.
It might have sounded like it over the last 15 minutes, but
again, guys, like I love all those projects.
Mm-hmm.
I love Monero. I've been the biggest supporter of Monero for longer than most people. And you can go back on this podcast. You can read some of my articles from years ago, and that's definitely the case. And
I mean, ultimately,
we've had the pirate
on like a long-term thing, like you want something to be able to be audited, though, like I totally get that. It's like, oh yeah, all these things, like even if like we say they work great, now, but something that we intend to use as money for the next hundreds of years, we'd want it to be able to be audited.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, exactly. And I mean, why not both? Why can't I have privacy and a coin that can be audited? And Dero kind of does it all. It can be audited, it's private, and then not only does smart contracts, but it does private smart contracts. And that's really where I want to lead this conversation into, is like the smart contract. So a smart contract can be very powerful. It can be initiated without. So basically, like if you think of like smart contracts, so if X happens, then Z happens, right? So like let's say if I've got like some kind of a like bounty program, and I say, okay, if X is completed, then this person will get this amount of Dero or whatever, right? And a lot of times it's like, okay, do you want to be able to see that? And a lot of times I say like, no, for many reasons. Like let's say if I've got a bunch of employees, or I've got a bunch of people doing stuff, and somebody sees that I'm paying somebody else more for a different job, and let's just say that job's more expensive, but they don't, they just get jealous or whatever, and it causes issues and problems within the organization. So, I mean, a lot of times, I'd say 99% of the time, I don't want people to be able to see, I wouldn't want people to be able to see, all the details about the smart contracts that I make. And if you do need to make if you do want a smart contract that's transparent, there's lots of chains for that, for sure. I'm not sure if you can do it on Dero. I haven't looked into it, but you might don't quote me on this, but you might be able to do that on Dero too. But I haven't looked that far into the coin, and yeah, I think that's going to be the way to go. So if you've got, even with like houses and stuff, I think me and Dag were talking about this earlier, and it's like, okay, a lot of times we probably want, like if we're buying a house, to be private, right? And so if we are public, right? So like, it's like, okay, this person really did buy it.
But you wouldn't be able to show you own it, ultimately.
Yeah, well, there's the problem with like government deeds and stuff, but I could see like an agorist market where they're like buying and selling NFTs, and they're not even touching government deeds at all. Imagine how great of a society that would be. Now, again, it would take a lot of trust, because that, you could buy this NFT for that house, but then the person would go to the government and be like, no, the house is actually mine, blah, blah, blah. Here's my deed. And they'd be like, yeah. So,
Well, yeah.
So it'd take a lot of trust to do that. But
and also when I'm talking about this stuff, a lot of times too, it's under the pretext of okay, not like now, like when there's a state, like this is like okay, as a replacement for state services. You know what I mean? If the state didn't,
or even to fight the state, like
right, I'm saying
fight the state, or
if the state didn't exist, then it's like yeah, of course it's like yeah, I own my fucking house. Here's the thing, like it can be as public as it fucking wants. You know, ain't nobody taxing me or whatever. You know, so you know it's definitely a different.
Well, you may not.
It's definitely a different game.
Want somebody to see. You may not even want somebody to see how much you paid for a house. And I think as long as you can show them the NFT, the non-fungible token for the house, the tokenized house on the blockchain, then he's the owner. He's got the NFT for it. So, and then with Dero that, you can audit that back and be like, okay, yeah, he's actually, it did go to here, and he could show you the NFT on his phone or whatever device, and yeah. So I think there's benefits to that, and you may not want people to know how much you necessarily paid for it, just as long as you can show them the NFT. So I think there's that, and not only in like a stateless society will that benefit. I could see it go with the state society, like okay, we're just going to do our own ownerships and not really even like file deeds just to avoid taxes. Now, again, that would be, great risk. And you really have to trust the people that you be associated with. But yeah, that would be just a great way to avoid taxes, but like buy and sell houses, I don't know how that would work necessarily with all the details and stuff, but man, what a cool thought to think about, if the Agora was privately selling houses on the blockchain without government taxes or permission. So,
I see like a way of like, there's kind of an interesting case. I think it's the Quakers, and they have like towns or cities or whatever. And what it is they're privately owned, and they have like, you have like a lifetime lease on like your house or whatever. So it's like, it's technically a corporation. So they're allowed to have, like rules, right? Like, okay, if you're going to live in the town and, cause you're not buying the place, we're leasing it to you. So, they have like, they have rules and everything, and they have, their own sort of form of government. But it's like all like voluntary, like the way like the money works and the donations work and the way things get funded. And it's really interesting, but it's an interesting way that they're, they're still obviously technically working within the system. They're a corporation, but they're allowed to operate like this whole other way. So let's say we had something similar, right? Like a town size piece of property, right? Then, totally within like the town, it could totally be 100% like NFTs and everything. Well, here's how your property is cut up. And I know this is, a big compromise, right? I'm not saying it's an ideal situation, but I'm just saying like, in that sense, like even if there was still a state, you might be able to have something like that where it could function just fine, because as long as you have it in a contract that, oh, if I have this NFT, it represents, this piece of property or whatever,
Yeah, that's brilliant, because then you could tell the state like, oh, I gifted this to that person, and it would it would probably be pretty close to tax free at that point.
They're not actually owning land; they just own an NFT. But everybody who works or lives within this community would recognize what that NFT means, even if the state doesn't. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, or not even tell the state about the NFT and like basically create a deed, but say, okay, create a deed, but basically say, okay, it's, I just gifted this portion of land to this person, but in reality, he paid like a portion of Dero to him for an NFT of the house. And yeah, that would be really cool to do it like that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, thanks. I think the Quakers. I think it's the Quakers. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's the Quakers. It's pretty interesting.
Quaker. Yeah. I always blame the Amish, but
yeah, I mean, I dig on the Amish. Amish are pretty cool.
Right.
They're my great example of how you can have a crazy religious belief and not want it to be enforced on everybody else.
Yeah, they don't go around like trying to force it on people.
They don't force me to not wear buttons.
Right.
Oh man. All right, let's take a quick second to shout out Agorist Acres Seeds. AgoristAcres.com stocks a variety of seeds for your garden or homestead. They also have really cool packaging instead of those silly paper envelopes.
Buy seeds with crypto, support the counter economy, and become self-sustaining today. Agorist Acres offers fast shipping so you can get started right away.
Make sure you use code Nexus10 at the checkout for 10% off of your orders. Also, they will donate a portion of the sale to Agorist Nexus, helping to bring you all the great content you expect. And all right, let's get on with it. Where were we?
Yeah, I don't know.
I had so I don't know. I guess I had one or two other little things on the freezing funds. Actually, I had one other thing on that Bitcoin thing, the Bitcoin donations. It was called Hong Kong HODL, and yeah, their main issue with the Bitcoin is really a similar issue to the GoFundMe and the other one that they're trying to make work, is that because the government has this emergency order, so they're freezing the bank, they're not letting the banks transfer the money for these people. They're also not letting exchanges that operate within Canada for crypto exchanges. They're also not letting them do anything with crypto, cash out Bitcoin or whatever. So with something that is kind of traceable, there's, it's $1 million in Bitcoin. It's 21 whole Bitcoins. So whatever that comes out to at any given day, right? But, around $1 million. So that's a pretty big chunk of change. They could probably track that down. So there's a couple concerns, and that's that, let's say, okay, so you're not gonna be able to cash those coins out on a centralized exchange. So you just have to be a little more tech savvy. You might be able to make something work. But, these truckers don't know how to use crypto, so they're coming up with plans to get it to them by actually writing down keys for wallets and putting them in envelopes and taking them to the truckers. And it's this whole casino kind of security kind of thing for getting these envelopes to the truckers. So it is kind of like a big hassle. I love the idea of using crypto, and I'm not even super anti Bitcoin like BTC, and I'm sure they could make it work, one way or another. But there are a lot of huge challenges to it, and it's just really similar. Like when we had Meta on the other day, we were talking about the same kind of thing, that especially mainstream BTC is getting so similar to regular, worldwide centralized financial services and products in a lot of regards that you can't just use them on exchanges without the KYC or what have you. But this is just another example of how it's just so similar that they're even having trouble with that because of just government dictates. One day the prime minister can get up and say, oh, this is an emergency. Oh, this is something illegal. Oh, I don't like you guys. So, we're, going to do whatever we want to you. But don't worry, it's not martial law because we don't have the military involved. We'll just do it without the military. So, so yeah, interesting. I had some other article from Fortune here that was basically saying that some banks were if they want to try and, freeze personal people's funds, they didn't say they wouldn't do it, but they said we're not comfortable with that, and we're going to talk to our legal team and try to see what we can do to not make it happen. But ultimately they would, if they had to, and they probably would, because again, the government obviously just dictates stuff. And then we have one other one. This is from the CBC, and they talk about those TD bank accounts that were frozen. They make some sort of vague threats as to what they can or may do in the future. They haven't said they're going to freeze individual bank accounts, but they haven't said they haven't. They just say, hey, we strongly recommend you don't mess with these truckers. Don't get tangled up in this because you never know what's going to happen. There are a few articles saying that they're really ramping up for stuff this coming weekend. This would be, I believe, the fourth weekend of the protests. And so they're actually putting 100 roadblocks around the city they're not going to let you in the city unless you can prove that like you live there or you have business there. You know, they have said that they have said that they're not going to say what exactly is going to happen, but that action is going to be taken this weekend. So who knows what that means? Who knows if that is like softer, like this financial stuff, or who knows if that's some sort of force, like, you know what I mean by force, like, police and fists and batons or whatever. I can't imagine that'd be the case. Like, at least not yet. They've said like it's not going to be something like that, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out, huh?
Right. Yeah, I think it's funny how they're like, oh, it's a fringe minority, and I think you've all seen the meme. Now it's like I need emergency war power. So
yeah,
it's quite a world that we live in, especially now that it's coming out that the vaccines could give you like HIV or something. I don't know.
I haven't. Yeah, I saw some memes about that, but I haven't actually read. I don't know. That just seems like such a sensational headline. I'm like, I'm going to give that one a couple weeks and see if it goes anywhere before I look into it.
Yeah,
that one's just too. And hey, man, I'm not saying it's true or not. I'm just saying, like, usually when I see something like that, I'm like, I'm going to give that one a couple weeks and let some real.
Well, there was somebody who wrote about it in 2020, how when this was before the vaccine had come out, and they said, okay, a vaccine for COVID-2, there's definitely a possibility that trying to do this kind of vaccine, an mRNA COVID-2 vaccine, could give you HIV. Now, I don't know how legitimate that article is, but and I'll try to find it. Luke of We Are Change posted it, a screenshot of that article, and it's like highlighted the exact date, and it's like May or June or March of 2020. It's like crazy early, and yeah, so I think there might be more risks to taking the vaccine than may have been previously thought. So it's like how can the government sit here and be like, we're going to force you to take this and take this vaccine that could give you problems, and if you don't like it, too bad. And that's just like mind blowing. Like, we want you to do this even if it hurts you. Like, we're do this or else. And what kind of psycho mind, like what kind of psychopath, brain does somebody have to say that this is okay, or even want this on any kind of level? It's just it's quite mind numbing to me. Even me trying to look at the status brain that I had, most likely, I most likely wouldn't even like this back then, because it's over the top. So, but yeah, we'll see if we've. I think we've got some bonus content here. So if we also have some bonus content for our last episode. So if anybody wants to support us, we can't thank you enough for your support. And the people who did support the bonus content for last episode, we thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really just can't thank you guys enough. And
where can they catch that bonus content at?
They can catch it on Odyssey. I think Odyssey is going to be like $3 an episode or something, and Float's going to be like $3 a month. So you're definitely getting a bargain if you just if you're, and the Float's got like a Patreon type layout or whatever. So if you want to support us on Float, super cheap to do it on Float, you guys. And Float's a really great platform.
Yeah,
And
I need to use them more. I need to start making the total switch.
yeah, and they're going to be doing crypto too. So if you're liking posts and sharing stuff, there's going to be crypto incentives for almost everything, I believe. And so yeah, it's going to be really cool. It's going to be a really cool platform, and yeah, I'm super excited for it. So if you just want to pay $3 a month and get all the bonus content you want on Float, again, that's greatly appreciated. And
Hell yeah.
or if you want to support us by episode on Odyssey, you guys can do that too. But yeah, I'm so appreciative of all the people that have supported us through those episodes. And yeah, I mean, the funds, all the funds Agorist Nexus gets goes towards, authors that are contributing articles. So, each article that they contribute, those funds go to them. It goes towards the documentaries that we get. We're doing cool shit with the funds. None of it's being pocketed in my pocket at all. It all goes towards Agorist Nexus. I've got my own side hustles that I do to be able to support myself, and even my side hustle goes towards. I have to pay out of pocket to support Agorist Nexus. So anything you guys can do to help out is greatly appreciated. And we do have, we are doing cool shit. We've got 14 writers that I'm paying out of pocket for. And we're producing a documentary, and I want to do at least 2 more. Hopefully we can get that released this year. And, we're always taking up as much time as possible to bring you guys great podcasts and content. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got this episode. If you got anything else, Dag, we'll find a quote here.
No, man. I don't know. Like I said, guy, I don't use the word hero lightly, but I don't know. I'm really digging this trucker thing. I hope that it's not some sort of op. I feel like everything's an op.
Yeah, everything's a psyop. I think the rumor was that this was like a small psyop at first that just like got out of hand and got out of
people
control.
Bought into it too much and it ended up being a good thing.
Yeah, and it like backfired on them, but who knows,
dude?
Right?
How many times that? So because everything's a fucking op and they do so many ops, like how many times? I mean, that must have happened like several times before where they do something like, oh, we're gonna, and it totally backfires on them and ends up being like good for liberty or sets them back. I mean, I'm sure there's actual notable examples that I just can't think of offhand right now, but I don't know. Yeah, that'd be so hilarious if that's what happened. Ended up bringing themselves down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it would be funny if like George Soros tried to fund it and then it was like, oh shit. And I think they're already trying to blame when the mainstream media does go over any of this, they're already blaming these truckers for supply chain issues and stuff. And it's like, it very well could have started out as a psyop to blame these white supremacists for the economy and stuff like that.
Like,
so
damn it, we just needed you guys to get a shot with a Nazi flag and a Confederate flag. That was all we wanted. A truck in front of the Capitol building with a Nazi flag. That's all we wanted. Now look, there's 5,000 trucks here. Jesus, this is out of hand.
Yeah, the small fringe minority has, I think they were reporting like 2.4 million people in Ottawa right now protesting. I think about that, and I'm not one for protest, right? But I don't even consider this to be a protest because they're not negotiating. They're not saying, okay, well, I guess we'll, since you gave us a little crumb, I guess we'll stop. They're saying no. They're saying no. We are not leaving here until you drop every single mandate. That's what they're doing. So I don't even look at it as a protest. I look at it as, and there's so many of them, it just can't be, Yeah. But
they're putting themselves at some risk for sure, but it's again, I mean, we everybody needs these fucking truckers to survive. Quality of life. If they do something to put 5,000 truckers like out of work or whatever this number is, you know, that's going to be huge. Like they're going to make a lot of enemies. People are going to really realize what's up. They're really going to cause some supply line issues, you know. So I really feel like the truckers are holding the fucking cards on this one. So, you know, again, you know, I hope it works out. I hope it works out well for them. I hope nothing bad happens to those guys. But, yeah, you know, we'll see.
Absolutely. And, yeah, I've got a quote whenever you're ready.
Yeah, man, let it rip.
Cool. I am no bird, and no net ensnares me. I am a free human being with an independent will. That's Charlotte Bronte, I think. Probably butchered that name. Agorist Nexus out.
Peace.
Put together a Nexus. Let's get connected. Ahora, we need the Agora. Pa' que no joda. Pa' que no joda. Live free, nah, they can't control that. We need the Agora. Pa' que no joda. Pa' que no joda. Politics is rigged, you can't ignore that. Politics is rigged, you can ignore that. Keep propping it up, it won't fall flat. Withdraw your consent and your whole stack. Be your own bank, be your own tank. You can't stop blockchain, be store lives. 3D printed doing laps like Daytona. Don't attract no cops, no donuts. Kinda economics doing all that. Okay, it's getting real. They wanna hold us back. I'm trying to hold my steel.